everyone, it's your girl Z, and we're back here on Z Talk. Today, I have one of New York City's top females behind the camera, director, documentary filmmaker, and photographer, Leomary Rodriguez. How are you? What's up?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me here. How are you?
I'm good. I like to say, and I probably said it before, during this time, we are blessed in the midst of chaos. For
Mm,
sure. For
yeah,
sure. Sure.
I agree.
So let's go in right into it. The public knows you as filmmaker, director, and photographer, but describe to me who Leomary truly is.
Okay, so outside of being what the public knows, I like the music I like is El Alfa, I like my dembow reggaeton. I
Okay.
love listening to that, but that's when I feel like, I could take a walk or do some intense exercises. So that's that side of Leo. And then we have the other side who's like a grandma who likes flowers,
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
to romanticize my life and my surroundings and relate to people. So that's the other part of Leo that is me as well.
Okay. And does any of that tie into the stories that you like to share?
Yes. So when I find that I'm building rapport with people who are like my subjects, whether it's like a brief photo shoot, like a portrait session or a documentary, you never know what people are made of or are about until you treat them like another person, treat them as you would treat yourself. And then you have an engaging conversation and you're like, whoa, you like this and you like that? That's the polar opposite of what I yeah. Yeah, so that's how I tie that into my work.
And I understand that your journey started at a young age. Your passion for being behind the camera. What gave you the confidence to actually pursue it?
So when I was like in the end of middle school and in high school, I was in like these after school programs. One of them was called Dream Yard, the Dream Yard Action Project. And when I was there, it was an after school / weekend program / summer program.
Okay.
And they had disciplines. They had different art disciplines, but it was all arts activism. So the disciplines were theater, filmmaking, I think painting, and something else. And we kind of got stuck to those disciplines. So I started with theater because I was like into acting and performing. But then I realized like, man, this crew's not for me, man, because everybody wants to act all the time and perform all the time outside of the stage. So I was like, these are not my people, but I respect what they do and that they can't turn it off. I could turn it off. I was like, no, we're gonna rest when we're not on the stage. And and they wasn't about that life. So I was like, let me go to this film crew, to this filmmaker crew in the disciplines. And I was leaning more towards that personality type of like, let me show you the story instead of like performing it for you. So that's when I started getting the confidence to have storytelling behind the camera.
And it's funny that you even gravitated naturally to the film crew. You started out with the acting crew and you felt like, okay, that's not for me. And to recognize that and then to step to the side and say, let me see what they're doing over here. Like, that's pretty dope. That's pretty dope.
Different personalities.
Yes, that is very true. That is very true. The people that you connect with behind the camera versus the people that are in front of the camera. Sometimes it's pretty evident too. Why is it so important for you to share Bronx stories? Because I do notice that the subjects that you usually cover and the stories that you usually do share are Bronx related.
So I have a special connection to the Bronx, not just because I was born and raised here, and I feel like I lived in every part of the Bronx except the 6 Line area, which no shade, calm down to whoever's watching. But so I have that personal connection to the Bronx. But then growing up as a Bronx person, and maybe every other borough experiences this too, but I can only speak for the Bronx.
Okay.
But growing up, you would always feel a little bit like scapegoaty about the Bronx, like the Bronx is whack because of this, because of that, because of the third. Meanwhile, we're the last to be, colonized in a sense. The last to kind of give up our culture and give up our community, and there's a pride in that for me. There's pride in me recognizing that too, because I wasn't in those spaces where I would recognize, oh, this is affecting my community in this way. How can I tell that story? Oh, this is affecting an artist this way. How can I tell that story? I had to leave, go to the University at Buffalo. I had to,
Shout out.
yeah, shout out to y'all. I had to leave and then come back and be like, no, the Bronx is popping. Because when I was in Buffalo, I was like, ooh, where's my bodegas? Where's my bacon, egg, and cheese? Where's this,
Oh,
that, the third?
mm-mm,
Where's the culture at?
mm-mm.
So when I returned, I was like, let me shine some light on this scapegoated borough and tell stories in the best way that I can, which is the way that I got my degree, the way that I have been doing since high school.
It's funny because New York City as a whole, the pride is different. I'm a Queens girl, but I always say like the pride in the Bronx is real. It is real. And you also mentioned that going away allowed you to see the beauty of back home. And I think anyone that has the opportunity or just the privilege to be able to step away, even if it is for a few months, you do see the beauty, and it does make you want to capture it in some way, even if you're not a creative, to just talk about it and have someone experience the culture. So the fact that you also even mentioned the colonizing aspect of it and finding your reason to share the story, that is pretty unique because not a lot of people even mention that.
Yeah, that's something that people kind of aren't aware of either, unless you're in those
I wasn't.
yeah, unless you're in spaces where it's like, well, this is getting built here, and it's gonna affect our community this way. Like if you don't have those people around you, that knowledge or information, then you're not gonna know that it impacts you directly.
Yeah, that is very true. And as your journey is still progressing, can you summarize for me in one sentence what it has been like for you up until this point?
Up until this point, one sentence. Oh my God, that's a
So when
hard.
you realize, I'm not a theater person to be in the front, let me go to the back till now.
Summarize like what it's been to this point, you saying?
Yeah, I guess you can say your journey, whether that be the emotional aspect of it, the lessons learned. Throw it in a sentence for me.
Okay, so I would say that the journey up until this point has been non-linear. It's been a lot of ups and downs, but I remain consistent. I will always remain consistent.
That part.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important part about being a creative, being an entrepreneur, is the consistency. Because if you're not consistent and you don't care enough, then how will people invest into you? How will people care enough as well?
Exactly. You got to show up for yourself.
Facts. Who is Leo in front of the camera?
Oh, Leo in front of the camera. I would say I'm comfortable now. I used to be uncomfortable, but I'm comfortable and I like to joke. I took like a comedy class during the pandemic, and yeah, so I feel like I like to incorporate that personality or that conscious personality of humor in front of the camera.
Tell us about that comedy class. What did you learn?
Oh,
tell us a joke.
Oh, not a joke. This is, you know what's funny? I mean, this is not a joke, but when I took the comedy class, they were like, you can't, like a lot of people do this. Like they're like, tell us a joke on the spot. Like when they hear you're a comedian or something or took a class, and it's like, the structure of a joke is so, I don't want to say it's hard, but it's something that I learned and I didn't know it would be hard. So that's why when people say, tell me a joke, I'm like, dang.
I just stereotyped it.
Yeah, I'm like, now I gotta think about the structure of a joke. And so, but what I will say is, keep an eye out and sign up to my newsletter. And if I'm ever, stand-up comedian in real life,
okay,
then the jokes are gonna be there.
Okay. I mean, I already feel them.
Okay.
So Leo in front of the camera is a jokester / comedian / aspiring comedian.
Yes.
Okay. Who did you want to be 10 years ago? And are you them now?
10 years ago. I think I am them now. I was thinking about this recently. I was like, I want to put my degree to use, not just because it's my degree, but because I studied media studies, I studied things in filmmaking, and I had always wanted to be in that space. And I am in that space in different capacities. So like directed by Leo, I do my freelancing, cinematography, photography, etc., where I get my hands dirty. And in my day job, I work at BronxNet currently. And that's where I, have the opportunity to give filmmakers time slots on the channels because BronxNet is a public access station. So I feel like I'm providing value to the community that I'm in. But also I'm working in the community that I'm in and I feel supported in that. And it feels right to think about that in hindsight compared to 10 years ago.
It probably was a scary thought 10 years ago.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely probably was a scary thought. So you mentioned directed by Leo, and I also know that you have a platform titled Directed by Us. Are they the same?
So
Okay.
directed by us comes from directed by Leo. It's directed by us. I'm making it into a digital platform where people can connect with each other,
Okay.
because I'm finding that people are finding me, like local artists are finding me, local entrepreneurs are finding me to create these vignettes, these like artists slash entrepreneurial vignettes of people in the Bronx predominantly.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, and I find myself talking about other people to each other. So instead of just being like a plug in happenstance, like in situations, I would rather plug
Okay.
people into each other in a platform where it's like, you might want to know everybody. So here's everybody. So that's how I want to navigate directed by us. And that just came from the name that I've always had, which is directed by Leo. Cause it's like, I'm one of us.
And I just for the people watching that may not know what Directed by Us is, it's a digital platform for the purpose of championing stories and connecting BIPOC creatives and entrepreneurs with each other. So if you're looking to connect with Directed by Leo, who will direct you to Directed by Us.
Thank you for that.
And let's talk about it. Your 2020 project, Night Call, based on when dating during quarantine goes wrong, you won an award for Best Director in the Bronx 48 Film Challenge. So talk to us about the emotions. Talk to us what that was like. And, that's pretty amazing.
Thank you. It was a really intense experience because it was towards the beginning of the pandemic, I would say, in 2020. And
when you won the award.
Both, it was like the beginning slash summer. It was like between May and August of 2020. That's the time frame.
Okay.
So the process was we had to create a film in 48 hours, and shout outs to the videographer slash audio slash editor person, Ariel from RS Film.
Shout out to Ariel.
Yeah, because we also won best audio. So, and I think it was because his DJ roots. So he was a DJ before he was a filmmaker. Through DJing, he became a filmmaker, and we had been following each other on social media for years. I was like, let me go to this show for DJing and stuff like that. And then I saw his work on video, kind of like when I was gathering my group for that 48-hour film challenge, and I was like, hey, why don't I just hit him up? Always wanted to work with him. And boom, we assembled the team. My brother ended up being one of the actors. My friend Sanji, who is also a coworker of mine, also ended up being an actor. And Ariel's partner, Denai, ended up also writing and directing and producing, and I also was obviously directing. So we had a whole team. It kind of happened naturally. And we did have some hiccups at one point where the script got deleted.
Comes with the territory.
Yeah, we had to freestyle at some point during the shoot, but it was shooting for like 24 hours and then editing and submitting it. It was very fast, but I trusted my team. I trusted the people that I chose, and I felt confident in everybody. So because of that, I feel like the experience went the way that it did. Just pure trust.
And I know these are the question that I'm about to ask is a question for me, but maybe even someone else that is an aspiring videographer as well. What was that like having to take a step back and be like, okay, we have to produce something in the next 48 hours, budget, costume, locations. Walk us through that.
It was I think the part that was the most nerve-wracking was right at the beginning, that 7 p.m. on a Friday night. We all had to, draw from a hat, kind of, our genre.
Okay.
So the genre was supposed to inform every team's film. And for some reason that year, a lot of people got horror, including us. Which I think also was appropriate because the pandemic was a scary time. So I think everybody was in the energy of horror anyway. So that was the most nerve-wracking part. And I think because I had the background of knowing people in the industry that I either wanted to work with for a long time or had already worked with, I was like, well, I feel like I had some type of advantage where I can assemble my team in that way, and in a leadership capacity. And I also wouldn't be closed-minded to not joining, not as a leader, but in another capacity too. So I'm comfortable with either one. But that year, I just happened to be a leader, and it was natural the whole time. But I would say to anybody that's curious about doing filmmaking in any capacity, acting, photo photography, like behind the scenes photography, which there was my friend Carlos did that for us. Things like that, where you're like, oh, I never tried that, maybe it'd be nice to do it. Then I would say that's a great moment to experience that in 48 hours. Imagine
that. That's also just not even just for filmmaking, but as an entrepreneur, as a creative, it's also very important to understand the role of wearing many hats, because that is how you kind of see your end goal, and that is how you work towards your end goal. And especially when you start bringing other people on your team to see that vision. So it's important to have your hands in a little bit of anything. It's not easy. It's not easy, but it for sure. For sure. How do you make your voice heard as a female in the digital entertainment world? So videography, photography, how do you make your voice heard?
And I'm gonna take a sip of water for that.
I feel you. I feel you. I feel you.
We got a lot to say with that one. Give me
I feel you. Let us hear it. We want to hear it all.
It's funny because when I started with like directed by Leo, I started as a fashion photographer. So I was booking modeling agency clients and building model portfolios and things like that, working with, clothing designers. And it's a hard place to start, but that informed the trajectory of my filmmaking. So I don't regret it. But and it was a great experience. But when I started, a lot of people that would come on set and see me for the first time would be like, oh, you're a girl? Oh, you're a female? And it's like, because the name is directed by Leo, and we're just going back and forth through emails. And I'm signing Leomary Rodriguez.
Automatically, it's, oh, this is a guy I'm speaking to.
Exactly. So somebody pointed out, like, oh, this might work to your advantage. But it's also like, yeah, it did work to my advantage.
That was your thought.
Yeah, it's like, that's still kind of sad. I'm like, oh, that's really how I have to operate in the world, like incognito, unintentionally. So gender incognito. So,
right.
So I had that experience. And then as I'm getting towards this end of things where it's more refined in my career, I'm feeling like I see the challenges now. Before I was kind of like ignorant to the challenges of being a female in the industry, but now it's like, ooh, I see that. I think the assertion that I could have in a situation and it being misinterpreted and remixed into like, she's a bitch, or she's a this, she's a that. And I'm like, but if this person, this male presenting person were to have said the exact words that I just said, you would be like, that's great feedback. They're just toughening my skin so that I can, be more prepared for the industry. And I'm just like, I wish we could all see each other in the same way. So that's how I've been navigating that. And I also, I try to be vocal about it. I'm like, you're kind of remixing my words here, pal.
I'm gonna use that. I like that.
I said what I said, so things like that is like, now I have the confidence to be more like, no, let's talk about what I just said. This is what I said. So I find myself having to over-explain, but it's also another layer of confidence of where if you have to over-explain, maybe this isn't the group of people you need to be working with.
And that comes with time and experience to realize that. There's a lot of other females that are also in the industry that may not have the confidence to speak up, that may not have the confidence because of how they may feel they may be perceived. But just like the other gender, you gotta let your voice be heard. You have a table, you have a seat in that room, your voice counts. But those feelings are definitely very real. And I like your approach. I definitely think I'm gonna use that.
Yeah, remix.
Remixing the words here. 5 years from now, who is Leo and what projects will be a part of your portfolio?
Ooh, okay, so 5 years from now, I would see directed by Leomary. in a more, I guess, stable place, in an even more confident place.
Mm-hmm.
I would see my identity more solidified, just like on a personal note. And I would see directed by us in a bigger space, in a place where I can not just connect people to each other, but provide more opportunities to people that are in, this space, this seemingly marginalized space. That's where I see myself, and directed by us. I would also be producing content for people that is authentic. So I enjoy creating documentary vignettes, and I think I want to continue doing that for people. It's been very fulfilling to get to know people in different levels and to shine a light on what they do and to marry that visually.
You're gonna be very surprised when you look back at this. I like to tell people that oftentimes when you look back at what you said you saw yourself doing in a few years, you might not even might, you will exceed that. So lessons on your journey.
Thank you.
And what about the photography aspect? I don't think I heard you mention that too much.
I mean, I feel like it comes with it sometimes.
Okay.
It's crazy because I'm joining these photo walks with the Girls Who Shoot, for example, an Uptown photo walk. And it feels so leisurely when I do it that I kind of don't put the pressure of like, I need to book photography clients. Because I feel like through those moments, I'm able to be like, yeah, I could book some clients. And it feels leisurely. Yeah, and then it's also like, but also I thoroughly enjoy just walking around and taking portraits of people. And I get stories from that too, like just real cute momentary stories of strangers that I'm meeting through these walks. So that I feel like it's always gonna be a part of it, but it's more it's different.
Well, do you have any tips for fellow aspiring videographers and filmmakers? You told us to be consistent. You told us you dropped a bunch of gems during this interview, but do you have any tips and just, one of your hardest lessons you had to learn?
Okay, so I got 2 tips that come to mind, probably more, but the top 2 that came to mind are find a mentor, discern your mentor. Make sure that this is a person or people or group of people that you can learn from, that you genuinely respect, that are doing things that you want to do in the industry. So that's something I wish I would have told myself back in the day, just because I ran through my mentors, but I was like, do I really want to be like them? Or am I just being like, I see what you're doing and I wouldn't do that. That you don't want that kind of mentor. You want the mentor that's like, I want to do what you're doing and in my sauce, in my way. So that's one piece of advice. And be fearless. That's another piece of advice I have. Fearless in the sense of like, if you're thinking of a series or if you're thinking of shooting something that is really calling to you, or picking up a theme that is really calling to you, maybe you're not a documentary filmmaker, but you're a narrative and you're a writer, then do that and be fearless in a sense of like, find people that are doing the same thing, kind of like what Issa Rae said, network across, and then you'll find your way through that.
That's true. And another lesson I've learned about networking is that we are definitely in a generation where we see everyone and what they're doing and who they're connecting with. And oftentimes we put the pressure on ourselves to connect with the people that are way above. But it is important to network linear, like the up and coming and the people that are within your industry, because eventually you guys are all leveling up together. So that's a very important thing that I think people should know and also should put into perspective. So good. That was a good gem right there. So before I let you go, I do want to play a game. Okay, you ready? You ready?
I'm ready. I think I'm ready.
All right, cool. I got a game for you, and this game is called Guess That Scene. So I got a bunch of clips, show clips, and movie clips that I think everyone should know, or you should know. But best foot forward. I believe in you. You ready?
Thank you for believing in me. I'm a little nervous. I'm scared, but I'm ready.
All right. So I got the first one up for you. Can you tell us what this scene is or where this is from? If you know a little hint, I got you.
This gotta be Cinderella, just because.
Yeah, see? We got this. Yes, this is Cinderella. This is Cinderella. Next up.
Is this gotta be Hunger Games?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Haven't seen it neither.
Me either.
Okay, so
But I think we've seen enough clips and drama about this show to know that this was the Hunger Games. Yes.
definitely. This is Everybody Hates Chris.
Yep. And do you know who this is in the show?
What's his name? I
No,
forgot.
you don't gotta tell me the name, but
It says Julius on his thing.
yeah, but who is he to the main character?
The dad.
Thank you. A little bonus point action.
This is Narcos.
Yes.
I'm addicted to that show.
I think but the series finished, no?
I think, is there another season with Bad Bunny, or did I hallucinate that?
Girl, I don't know. I stopped watching after they killed him.
Yeah, that was rough. It was like, how can you top that performance? But
yeah, you can't.
they couldn't, yeah. This gotta be Friends.
Yeah, girl.
You know them.
See, you got this.
Thank God. Thank you. This is Fresh Prince. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's gonna get harder. This is Coming to America. I'm surprising myself.
You got this.
Get Out.
Okay. And last but not least,
The Office.
Girl, you got all of them.
Oh, I was so nervous. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. You did great there.
Thank you. I'm usually really bad at this because I don't retain shows and TVs, movies like that.
You got it.
Thank you.
So, well, where does Leo go from here?
Like today?
However you want to answer that. Anything that you want to share in regards to your journey and next steps?
Next steps in my journey, I feel like I can go in so many different directions. Just because content creation, filmmaking, healing, because that's another thing too. Like there's things you could do through creating that are healing centered.
Yes.
That I could go towards. So right now I'm just I'm continuing doing what I like through filmmaking, photography, etc. But I'm also open to opportunities where I can experience new things, especially things that have to do with genuine creation and expressing authenticity. So that's what we're gonna go from here to remain consistent. My bestie's over there.
I see him. I love that. And where can we stay connected with you? Your website, socials, tell us, drop it all.
So you can find me at Directed by Leo. That's on Instagram and TikTok. I don't have Twitter anymore. It's addicting. All these platforms are addicting. I was like, let me cut it off.
Very.
So those are the ones. And then you can find me at www.directedbyleo.com. And if you want to send me an email for anything, it's info@directedbyleo.com. I also have a group. It's called The Artist Club, and it's hosted by my friend Samantha Alvarez, who's also a filmmaker. And if you want to join that group, we keep each other accountable. No matter the discipline, you could be a singer, actor, whatever, a painter. And we just keep each other accountable, make sure that everybody, sets their goals, accomplishes them. Or if you just want to be inspired by, 100 people, then you can join us. So I can also provide you with that information if you reach out to me.
Well, Directed by Leo, it was great. You are great. And once again, blessings on your journey. Thank you for sitting down with me, having a conversation with me, and sharing your gems. This was great. Thank
you for having me, and I look forward to reconnecting and seeing this show and seeing the other episodes. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate that.